Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for spending some time with us this, what day is it? Wednesday lunchtime for us to launch our Manager Appraisal Toolkit. We're absolutely delighted to be here and be able to talk to you about this. And it is something that we've all been working on, but we must say a huge thanks to Robin Clark, who has been really spearheading this and our accreditation. And unfortunately, Robin can't be with us today, but we just want to say a huge thank you to her. So those of you that were here early and got the Mentimeter code, I can see that you're putting your little dots on the map. So we're just trying to work out where you're from. So if you can go to menti.com, menti.com, and the code today is 34450584. And there'll be lots of opportunities during the session for us to give you some feedback, for you to give us some feedback that we can take to, the next year for us developing things, and also for us to understand a little bit more about your struggles and what we might be able to help you with. Oh, that's great. Really good coverage. Great to see some of our colleagues in Scotland here. Code should be on your screen. It's 34450584. Or if you just go up the page, you should see that I've written it down in the chat. Right, fabulous. Thanks. We'll get going. So just a reminder, you're probably used to our faces. Myself and Nicola are on this call today. Unfortunately, as I say, Robin can't be with us and nor can Joe today. But we're here behind the scenes as full-time practice managers, but also leading all the work of the IGPM. And we are joined by some amazing national leads. We've appointed those last year. So we've now got people North, South, and Midlands. And Kerry is going to talk to us a little bit later on about her experience of using this toolkit. And as well as these national leads, of course, we've got Gareth in Wales. We don't currently have anyone in Scotland as a national lead. So if any of our colleagues who are here from Scotland are interested in being a rep for us or a national lead, then do get in touch with us after this session. And then we've got some specialist advisors, all working in general practice, either as PCN managers, practice managers, operation managers, or as Michelle is a deputy practice manager. So we're building on that expertise that we've got and supporting you in all the areas that we think are important. The only way that we know what's important is if you tell us. So please, if there's a particular area that you're interested in, do get in touch. You can get in touch with me directly, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you know me from, or on our WhatsApp groups or via email. And then we've got an amazing group of regional reps, and they're all listed on our website. We are investing in our website over the next coming months, and it's going to be lots easier for you to be able to search and find who your regional rep is. It's taken quite a lot of work to get that up and running, but we think it's a massive investment. And you'll be able to see all their details there. If you're not sure who your regional rep is, do contact us and we'll put you in touch with them. And then probably the most important people, and I was joking with Ali before we went live that the real brains behind this and the people to keep us all going and on track is Ali. So Ali is our business manager and with us today. Thanks, Ali, for everything. And Sam isn't with us, but Sam will answer all of your questions about membership and accreditation. So she's our membership officer. So as you can see, we are an organisation that's growing and growing because our membership numbers are increasing all the time. So just to tell us who you are, can you tell us if you're an associate, you're MIGPM, you're an affiliate? So just the difference between associate and MIGPM. So an associate is someone who pays their £50 a year. A MIGPM is someone who's been through the accreditation. An affiliate member is somebody who works outside of general practice, so not employed as a practice manager, PCN manager, but want to support us. So they pay their £50 as well. Or if you're a guest, if you're not a member. We've also opened this out to our appraisers as well. So if there is anybody here who is an appraiser, we're very grateful to have you here as well. Just see in the chat someone saying joined as an associate and keen to work towards membership. Do remember we have lots of WhatsApp groups, and we'll tell you about those a little bit later on. And there is one about accreditation, so lots of support there if you need it. Wonderful to have so many of you with us. Thank you. So that MIGPM, and I think undoubtedly that's our greatest success. The accreditation to make you a professional on a professional register, and that professional register will be on our website. People will be able to search that, and you'll be able to prove when you go for a job, when you're doing your appraisal, any of those things. For me, one of the most important things is seeing those letters after people's signatures that you are part of that group of managers who are accredited. So to write MIGPM after your name is just incredible. And if you'll remember, we were challenged really, which is why we were set up by somebody in NHS England that said we weren't a profession. And that message had come down from central government that we weren't a profession, we didn't have a professional organisation. So we went ahead and did it. So what we need you to do is support us by becoming associates and then moving towards accreditation. And then we really do show that we are a profession and we work to a high level, which all of you know that we do. So just to remind you, and it's important that I remind you of these 10 areas because these fit directly into the appraisal. So doing your accreditation and your annual appraisal will almost be seamless. So if you've got the evidence in one, you'll be able to put the evidence in another. Now, it does have a cost associated with it. It's £280. And we know that is a big chunk of money. So what we're keen to do is that you talk to your training hubs, PCN, Health Solutions Wales, Scottish equivalent, LMC, whoever it is, your partners, to pay that £280. That is a one-off cost for you to get through the MIGPM. So I'd be really keen to encourage you to think about doing this as well. Okay, I'm going to hand over to Nicola to do the next slides. But just before we do, for those of you that are not accredited, we just want a feel really for what's stopping you. Okay. Yeah, time. And Nicola, I think your response is always tackle the elephant one bite at a time.
How do you eat an elephant? Well, you eat an elephant one chunk at a time. And actually there was something in the chat about, how long does it take? And it's entirely up to you. When I went through accreditation, as a raving insomniac, I would pick it up at 3 o'clock in the morning and do a little paragraph and then put it away. And I just did it over a series of days, looked at a section, thought, I've no idea, move on to another section, fill that in, go back. And as you start to think about the stuff that you have done within your current job, within previous jobs, in primary care, you'd be amazed at what you've actually achieved. When you write it down, it looks fantastic. But how often do we actually do that? How often, we can drive home and do some reflection on our day, what's gone well, what hasn't. But this is actually about physically putting that evidence together to say, I have done this, I have supported that, we got through this for CQC, or whatever the area is. And you'll actually find that you'll complete the form really, in no time. It looks lengthy, it can look onerous, but what you've got to remember is, this is a really important document for your personal development as much as anything else. It's important for your employers, for prospective employers. You will have been accredited by your peers, by us as directors, and qualified assessors who will look at your application. And we're not just saying yes to everybody straight away. We do ask for more evidence. So where we think you might have got that domain, but we need a little bit more evidence in another domain, we will come back to you and ask you for that. So if you're thinking about accreditation, start to pull together the evidence that you need. Get the form, start to look through it, pull the evidence, store it, and when you're ready, go for it. But don't be overwhelmed by it. Do it bit by bit and you will get through it.
Nicola, can I just add, someone said it doesn't work well for PCN managers. Just to let you know, there is a PCN specific accreditation now that PCN managers are going through. If you still think that isn't working well for your particular experience, do let us know if it needs tweaking, and we can look at that if you think it's not suitable for you.
So let's look now. Who did your last appraisal? Can you let us know? Have you actually had one in that particular surgery where you're working? I know that we had a colleague who said they were given their appraisal document by one of the partners and told to write it, and they would sign it. And that's not what this is about. It's really important. So that's great. So we've got quite a few people here saying that a clinician did their last appraisal. I just wonder how many of those felt that appraisal was a good one. Did they understand, where we're coming from? And I think, from my personal experience and chatting with my fellow directors, we've all felt, the appraisal was okay when it's done by a doctor, but actually they don't, even now, they don't really understand the nooks and crannies of what we do. And, we've gone out and asked for comments. You don't get an appraisal. You have to write your own. Doctors don't understand what they do, or they might understand a little bit of what we do, but not everything. And development is really crucial. That's the whole point of the appraisal, is that formal review. Where am I now? Where was I? Where would I like to be? And this appraisal document will form that structure to enable you. Well, it also links to the accreditation framework. So if you're not in a position to go for accreditation yet, let's say you've been in post less than 2 years, or you just don't feel confident about going for accreditation, use the appraisal toolkit, because that supports you. But when you're doing the accreditation, you'll find you'll be able to pull information out, and actually that accreditation document actually virtually writes itself. So you don't need to have done accreditation to do the appraisal. But some people are reporting that they feel that that's quite a nice way to do it, but you can do it either way. Thank you. can have the next slide. Great. So another Mentimeter here. What do you think about your current appraisal? How is that? You know, is it useful? Does it happen regularly? Is it specific? That's interesting, isn't it? We're sort of pitching in the middle here of sort of agreeing, but not, we've got no strongly agrees and no strongly disagrees. So it's sort of useful and it's sort of specific. And this again adds weight to our desire to get our appraisal toolkit out there, because it's absolutely specific to your job, you know. And if you use it again, use it year on year, because then that way you can see your own development. You know, some of us are dinosaurs and we're nearing the end of our careers, and there'll be those of you on the call here now who are maybe relatively new in post, maybe been in post for a couple of years. You know, this is, you know, you've got to think about your career in primary care. You know, we hope that you are here for the long haul, because for directors, you know, we really love our jobs. That's why one of the reasons behind our force, if you like, our raison d'etre. We love our jobs. We want you to love the job as well. We know there are challenges. And if doing something like this helps, and it helps you have a good discussion, once you've had your appraisal, you can take that to your partners and say, look, well, this is what I want for development. This is what I want for training. I think it just adds some weight to it, you know. So the appraisal template itself, we're looking at a gold standard appraisal here. And appraisers have the guidance as well. I mean, how often, you know, I've had appraisals where I filled out my pre-appraisal form, and it's very clear that the doctor in this particular case has gone, oh, I don't really know why I'm asking you this question, but it's on the form, so I'm going to ask it anyway. You've got really clear guidance about completing this, because it is a specialised tool. We are doing a very niche job. You know, there is a global management of HR and finance and things like that, but actually practice management is really, really specific. It is your opportunity to showcase against the 10 domains in the accreditation. You know, and as we've said, it will help you to set objectives for your future development, something for your CPD. And you know, I don't know about you guys, but you know, I'm forever pushing my team to complete portfolio stuff. Put it in your training folder, put it, you know, make sure that you save that document. It's really important for your development. How often do we do that for ourselves? You know, we always put our teams first. This is a great way to feed back to your employers about what you've actually been achieving, because they're probably thinking you're just, you know, you're doing really well. You know, you're in your office doing all the work that they expect you to do, but what other things are you doing over and above? You know, what links do you have to your patient group, for example? How important do they view you as a member of that team? Or, you know, have you been working with CQC towards a particular standard that your practice didn't have before? Are you putting in something that's very specific for your community? All of those things are really, really important. Actually, your partners might not even know that you're doing that, because you're just beavering away at it in the background. So make sure that you put it on there. So this is the actual appraisal form. Now, it jumps right through. We've just got a couple of pages here to show you, but so it links very, very clearly to the accreditation document, and each area goes through each domain. So we go through, you know, qualifications and achievements. We've got our personal qualities, our CPD, leadership, you know, finance, improving patient services, working with patients. all of the things that you would expect a practice manager to be doing. You know, what are you doing with your workforce? You know, have you got financial stability? What about your estates management? All of those sorts of things. So you could look at it and go, oh, it is 14 pages long. Yeah, it is. But remember, we're talking gold standard here, guys. So this is a professional document for a professional body. And we are setting the standard high because we know that you can achieve this. Once you've done this, the accreditation document will look like a doddle. I'm sure you'll whiz through it in no time. But lots of individual little bits, as I say, linking to all of the domains. And this is something that you can use, you know, you can use it with your you can speak to fellow colleagues, what are they putting down, you know, get some advice and guidance on it. Please don't feel that you have to do this in isolation, and we are here to support you. So there are several WhatsApp groups which Kay will talk about in a bit, but you know, we have got groups out there for all areas of practice management for our members, and we are here to support. We want you to achieve, you know, we don't want you to fail. This is not about being an elite organisation. This is about making sure that we support each other. We know how isolating this job can be, and hopefully you'll use this document to its best advantage, and you'll whiz through it and you'll find it really, really useful.
Thanks, Nick. And just a couple of points that people have made in the chat. Someone's gone on the website and looked for it. It's only available to members. So for people who are paying their 50 quid, you know, we need to limit how this is shared really as much as we can. We want this to be something that people join us and have as a benefit of membership. So do just email us and we'll send it out to you. And it is an electronic document, so you can add to it throughout the year if that's what you want to do. But if anyone has got any ideas about how we can further develop it, you know, we're delighted once some people have used it to take your advice. But now, thanks, Nicola. I just want to introduce Kerry, who's one of our, well, she's our national lead for the Midlands. Kerry, are you there? I
I'm
can't see.
here.
Oh, you're there. I can see your face now. Thank you for joining us while you're off work at the moment. Can you tell us, you were our guinea pig. How was using the toolkit?
So when I tested it, it was before it was electronic. So I did mine on paper. But to be honest, I'm old school, so I would probably do it on paper anyway and then type it up tidily. As Nicholas said, it is quite lengthy, but don't be put off by that, because it actually made me think a lot more about what I've done over the past 12 months. And I think there's a lot in my appraisal that I probably wouldn't have talked about had I not had all these prompts from the 10 domains to look at. So this is just one page of my scribbling. It took me probably 3 or 4 days to do, but that was because the first day I got it, I brainstormed it and went through and just did, you know, whatever sprung to mind and put that in. And then the next day I sort of went through it and I was a little bit more intellectual about it, if you like, and went through and sort of, you know, I have done this and I have done that. And then I spent the third day just thinking about things that I did on a daily basis that we just do autonomously, but are also, you know, really important aspects of our job. So, like I say, it took a couple of days just to-ing and fro-ing with it. In terms of time, it was probably maybe 2 or 3 hours. But that was just where I kept going back, kept adding to it. And a lot of it as well makes you think about, as I say, the things that we do autonomously, but are really important as well. What I did then was, once I'd sort of got some ideas together for each of the domains, I managed then to come up with an action point for each domain based upon what I'd written, because thinking about it gave me ideas about what I want to do going forward as well. So yeah, don't be put off by it, and it is really, really useful. When I got to the bit I wanted to talk about, sort of came up with lots of scribblings just by going backwards and forwards. And then my objectives, as you can see, sort of I managed to put something in every box, and I've never done that before really. Managed to come up with really comprehensive objectives, but having all of those bullet pointed ideas with the prompts, with the domains, really does help you to come up with quite a constructive document.
And was it because the structure was there for you and it kind of nudged you to think about things that you wouldn't have previously thought of?
Definitely, because I would have just done the day-to-day stuff. But there's also, those little things that just crop up once or twice a year, maybe, that are still really important. I probably wouldn't have focused so much on the finance bit because that's just not one of my strengths. But going through the finance domain, really did make me think that, okay, I do actually know what I'm doing, and I'm okay at it. But it also ties in with your accreditation as well, because we have that domain, because we have the criteria in each domain. So I actually went back to my accreditation submission, and looked on things that I have done, and that makes you also look then at what you've achieved and where you want to go forwards with it.
Great. And how did your appraiser think about it? What did they think?
Well, my appraiser was one of my partners who said by the time she got to page 2, she was exhausted. When we got to the objective, she said, but looking through all of this, you do so much already. How are you going to do more? And a lot of the objectives actually go hand in glove together. So it's not necessarily about doing more work, it's progressing what I'm already doing
Okay. And
and going to the next level.
she wasn't exhausted because you went on too much. She was exhausted thinking about how much you do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it makes you write about things that you wouldn't necessarily discuss. She knows I do quaff, she knows I do accounts, she knows I do the HR, she knows I pay the bills, but she didn't know about all the little nitty-gritty bits
Yeah.
that the document makes you investigate and examine.
Okay. So a more useful, more concise in the end set of objectives for you?
Definitely, definitely. And appraisals always should be sort of 80% appraisee and 20% appraiser. And it definitely tipped that balance, because it was the majority, 80% of the time was me going, and I've done this, and I've done this. And as a result, I want to do this. And this is where I think we should go. And she just was a little bit of a nodding dog, really, and just chipped in little bits now and again. But it
And that's you.
also gave the partners an idea of where I want to progress personally as well as the practice.
And this is your first appraisal at this practice, isn't it? So you can't kind of
Yeah.
compare last year to this year, but by comparison to your previous appraisals, what are they? Is it chalk and cheese, or is it,
Oh yeah, definitely chalk and cheese. This was by far the most constructive appraisal I've had as a practice manager. And I have had appraisals where I've been given a form, write it, and they just sign it, and
Yeah.
we just give it some lip service. So this
Yeah.
was, in 17 years, this is the most constructive.
Great. And I can see people have said in the chat that their experience is that it's a tick box exercise. And I think we can all kind of feel that same way for at least one appraisal we've had in our
Yeah.
careers. So
There's not one tick on my form, if that makes
fabulous.
anybody feel better.
Fabulous. And just going back to the amount of time it took you to do it, did you say a couple of hours all in? So I know you
All
said,
in, yeah,
yeah. So 3 days you were going back to it, but all in a couple of hours, and that
yeah,
gave you the best appraisal you've ever had.
yeah, definitely.
Wonderful. Thank you. And you're staying on the call, so if there's any specific questions, we can
Yeah,
direct them to you as well. Amazing. Thank
yeah,
you. And thanks for being our guinea pig as well. So I'm going to go over to Ali now. Ali's going to kind of collate some of the questions and see if we can answer those between us I know Ali and Nicola, I can see that you've been answering some of them if we've gone along.
We've had a few answered, but the last one's just come in. How do you think this toolkit fits with managers who have a specific remit rather than a broad portfolio?
Do you want me to answer that? So is that for like a finance manager or an operations manager rather than a practice manager? I guess that we have designed it so that it should fit anyone that goes for our accreditation. So all of those roles can go through accreditation. So it should fit, but we are human. We are an organisation that works with you. And if you get the document as an IGPM member and you think that it needs anything changing for your role, please, please just get back in touch with our office and we'll take a look at it. We might be able to help you how to fill in particular areas. Or it might be that you and your appraiser think, actually, I don't do finance, so let's miss that finance bit out. That might just mean that's an area for you to develop if you want to go for MIGPM.
Oh, and we should just say at the moment we do have a PCN version, a Welsh version, a Northern Irish version, and a practice manager version for England, but we will look to develop a Scotland one. We've got a couple of contacts at the moment who are looking to develop, as I've had a couple of people ask for an equivalent for the Scottish version.
Great.
We have a question. Is anyone else on here a GP partner keen to be able to be a better appraiser for the PM? As I'm not an appraiser for anyone else. Sounding like this form will help me do that.
It will definitely help you do that. And what we could do, and we haven't got that at the moment, but we could set up that network of practice manager appraisers if that's something that you'd find useful. So Ali can keep a note of those details and put you in touch with each other. But honestly, the template will talk you through it and walk you through it. You will know what your practice manager does on completion. And, you know, some of our previous webinars where we've described, you know, the role of a practice manager might be useful as well. So if you head over to our YouTube channel, you might find those useful. Nicola, I can see you've taken your microphone off, do you?
Yeah. I just wanted to say thank you to Sean as that GP partner who wants to be a better appraiser for his practice manager. I think it's really fantastic that we get that support, and we know that there are managers in practices where they don't necessarily have a great level of support, but to have a GP on here is fantastic. So thank you so much, Sean, because it really tells us that you are keen for your manager to be developed and supported and work through their career with them. It's fantastic. So thank you from us.
Hey, and we haven't just got one, we've got two. We've got Sarah here as well, who's saying, so,
Great.
you know, we're bowing down to you wonderful GPs who are going to have the best supported managers in primary care. Any other themes, Ali?
Yeah, we've had a few people ask about is it available to record through the year, but it's an editable PDF, so you can record as you go along. It's something you can type on yourself, so you can keep a record throughout the year. It's designed to be edited and saved again.
Okay. And I've had a couple of direct messages about that as well. People asking, you know, how do you present the evidence? And it is just an editable document that you can complete as and when. And that's the same as the MIGPM, the accreditation. You know, we have 3 intakes throughout the year. You don't have to put it in on your next one. You can keep working on it for 6 months and go back to it and think of new things to put in it. We just want to be that profession. We want to show show what amazing work happens in general practice, and a lot of that is led by us as managers in primary care. Okay, conscious of time. Go on, Ali, last one.
Yeah, sorry. We just had a couple of people asking again how they get it, and they can't find it on the website. It won't be available on the website. We are making sure it goes directly to members, so there is a little bit of delay in sending them out. We've got over 500 requests at the moment, so we are just checking everyone is a legitimate member before they're sent out. But we will send them out as soon as possible.
And I hope you can understand why we're doing that as well, because we want this to be a benefit from your membership, whether that be affiliate or MIGPM or associate membership. And if you are a GP or someone who's a supporter, you can join as an affiliate as well. So there are options for everyone. So that's not the kind of end of you being able to ask us questions. Ask us wherever you find us. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're everywhere. You'll be sick of us if you're not already. So just a reminder of what you get for your 50 quid. And we've kept it at £50 for 3 years now. And, you know, that just means that we sort of break even. We're not a money making organisation. Any money that we make goes back into the development of our profession, whichever part of management you're from. So being a member means you're in the representative body. You will get those regional reps, you will get our Facebook group, but we've also in the last 6 months developed topic specific WhatsApp groups, and new ones come along all the time. This last week we developed one for dispensing practices, which have now, you know, that's developed really quickly, and already that group which Nicola is leading is talking about having a monthly drop-in to talk about specific problems for that group of practices. We have regular newsletters, we have that ability to influence. We're invited to meetings where decisions are made. You know, we talk to the GPC, we talk to NHS England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. We need you to be telling us the things that we should be promoting and looking at and shouting about. And now we have this appraisal toolkit as well. So we're responding to what you're asking us to do. The final thing I just wanted to remind you of is we've started to do a monthly podcast. You told us that you didn't want lots of newsletters, although, you know, we do a regular newsletter. We now do this monthly 10 Hats podcast, 10 hats which relate to the 10 domains that we think make up a practice manager or a manager in practice. So we have guests on there and we talk about topics that are relevant at that moment. We try and make it quite topical. We normally make it last 20 minutes, if that. So, you know, walking the dog, getting some fresh air at lunchtime. Please think about listening to that as well. So just before we finish, I just want to kind of open the Mentimeter to ask you what our focus should be. We are already working on finance, so we're already talking to people about minimum wage increases. We're already talking about the supposed 1.9% increase in our budgets. If you could just for the last time go on to Mentimeter before we finish and tell us what we should be focusing on. So building membership, that's in your power. I always describe us as a bit of a social movement. We're practice managers for practice managers. It's you that can say to your colleagues, why haven't you done this? Why haven't you got your partners to pay the £50 a year to be a member? So please do encourage each other. Let your colleagues know the benefit of having a voice, of working together. Yeah, new contracts, certainly. We'll be looking at that. Reducing bureaucracy. Yeah, that's something that the GPC are keen on as well. So our links with them will help. Oh, appraisals for managing partners. Yeah. Oh, so managing partners as in partners in the practice. Yeah, it's interesting one that we've talked with our managing partner reps who wonder if that's more of a peer-to-peer appraisal. So that's something we're looking at. I was kind of thinking, should we be appraising GPs then? And I went off on a little tangent in my brain. Yeah, louder voice across the big table. Honestly, you've met the four of us. You know, that's one thing you could say about us. We're quite loud, and we don't shut up just because people aren't listening. Hey, Nick?
And the more members we have, the bigger our voice becomes. You know, we're already you know, a go-to organisation for many departments in NHS England. We've got our fingers in a lot of pies there, so, and we are influencing change. It may seem slow, but there are things going on. So please join us. If you're not a member, do think about it, because the more members we have, the bigger our voice. And we're working in general practice. You know, we know what is happening. We want to be the organisation that people come to say, we're thinking about putting this in the contract, you know, and we've had some of those discussions, but we want to have more discussions.
Thanks, Nicola. So, don't know how we've managed it. We've got about 2 minutes to spare. So I'm going to give you that to go and have a little stretch, walk round, make yourself a brew, have your lunch. And a reminder, we're always going to be people working in practice management. We're not for profit. Everything goes back into our membership. And you are the most important people to us. So talk to us. Let us know what we can do for you. And give us some feedback about the appraisal once you start doing that. Have a wonderful day, and we really look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks, everyone.